Hello, and welcome to the Grounds Crew. My name is Alex.
Alex Sr., Bo,
This is Paul.
Randy,
Randy.
Ken.
I'm ready. Oh, I didn't hear Ken. I'm
Introduce
ready.
yourselves.
Yes.
And this is the
Randy and
older and
Ken.
wiser
Okay.
brother of Paul, Ken.
Okay.
Let's
And,
roll.
along with Ken, we have Mr. I'm Ready.
Alrighty. So today we're going over the AL East standings predictions, which we've been excited for. We've been excited to do this one. First we go with the Toronto Blue Jays. Last year they were 74 and 88. And this year they had some additions and two subtractions. They lost Jordan Romano and Spencer Horowitz, and then they signed Anthony Santander, Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, Max Scherzer, Andres Jimenez, Nick Sandlin, Josh Walker, Dylan Tate they re-signed, and they also got Miles Straw. Their projected lineup is Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Anthony Santander, George Springer, Dalton Varsho, Alejandro Kirk, Andres Jimenez, Ernie Clement, and Joey Loper Fido. Their projected starting rotation is Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, and Bowden Francis. Couple of bullpen names to mention: Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, and a couple of injuries. The one big one is Alek Manoah, but he's been so off and on, I don't know if you can even consider that a big injury. But anyways, that is their team. A lot of additions, not as many subtractions. So, sir, what do you think of this team going into this season?
Well, it's pretty much the same team as they had last year. I don't see a whole lot of change in their starting lineup, their rotation. They made a few additions, but no big, huge additions. They missed out on a lot of those deals. I think some of that had to do with the fact that they're up in the air with where they're playing, and I think that the rotation's probably a little bit better than it was last year, but I still don't see them improving and hopping over these top contenders with all the big names they've signed and whatnot. So, I mean, they have a solid team. So, will they finish last? Probably not. Maybe a little bit better than that, but I don't see them taking the division or taking any of their top three spots.
Do you think they will have more than 74 wins next season?
That's a pretty good benchmark right there. I'm going to say no.
All right, so Sir thinks that the Blue Jays will be worse next year, even with all the additions. Paul, what do you think?
Well, Anthony was taken from our Baltimore team. Out now and saying some things that it sounds like Baltimore just did not give him a good enough offer, which sort of makes me sad. But I am one of those guys that if you don't want to be around, be gone. So I'm fine with that. But he does make an addition to that lineup, definitely. I do agree. Outside of him, I don't know that there was a huge amount of addition, either to the lineup or the rotation. But I still think they're going to do a tad better. I think they're going to go above Tampa Bay, personally. So I'll put them in fourth place for the division.
That's where I am, in fourth place. Yep, we agree.
Oh, fourth place. So you think they'll be better than 74 wins?
Yeah, I'll put them up to 80. Yeah.
80. Okay. All right, Randy.
I want to mention that what he just said about Santana. That he definitely is going to be helping Vladimir in the lineup.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, Toronto definitely has tried to bring players in. They've sent out many big offers to many names, and they mostly the people just didn't want to go there. So
that's what scares me. And what scares me is, depending how this year goes for them, they could lose more players coming up.
Yeah, Vladdy's contract's coming up at the end of the year. His self-proclaimed deadline to get the extension done has passed. But that doesn't mean that he still won't re-sign with them during the year.
Right.
If they all of a
Right.
sudden say, "Oh, here's the contract you wanted," I mean, I think he's still going to sign it, but I don't think they're going to offer it to him. So, Randy, what do you think about this team?
They're going to be better than last year. I give them. They're going to be over 500. I think Anthony Santander is going to help them tremendously. You read off those pitchers. There's nothing. I mean, if they get a 50% or 75% of Matt Scherzer along with Gosman.
Okay, let me ask you a question first there, Alex, in responding to that. When was the last
I could look
year
that up while
Toronto is in a difficult situation for this reason. You put Toronto into another division, especially in the AL. You put them into another division, and I think you're going to see they would not be in last place. But being in the AL East, being in the AL East is a very difficult situation for Toronto to be in. And to try to improve makes it very, very hard. Do you have that year when they had a winning record last time?
2023, they had a winning record, 89-73. So just 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. In the AL East, normally the issue there has never been offense. I mean, basically, your AL East is known for their offense. It comes down, I think, to pitching for the AL East. I do think that Toronto will improve at least a little bit with their pitching, which will give them a few more wins. Will get them out of the cellar of the AL East. I doubt it. Toronto also, once again, is a place where people don't like to go and play for some reason. I think you do have several players there that are wanting to leave from Toronto, and I think you're going to see that come through this year. So I think their record, will they have more wins than last year? Yes, but will it get them out of the cellar? No, I don't think so.
I agree with that.
I know why the players don't want to go there. The reason they
I'm
don't want to.
assuming. Yes, Randy, welcome back. I'm assuming the players just don't want to go there because I think they would just rather. But I love America, so that's why I'm saying that. But I don't know. Maybe there's tax reasons. I really don't know.
I know the other reason is that there's going to be some tariffs put on Canada.
I think I'm back.
Randy, what do you think? You got cut off there. What do you think the Blue Jays will be?
I'm in Arizona, and the connection's it could go. But as I was saying, why did Santander go there? I'm excited. I'm excited for.
Oh, wow.
No.
As I was saying,
it's like he's in Alaska. He's
I'm probably going again.
Without being political,
maybe that's what it is.
Without being political, does the stuff that's going on between Canada and America have an effect? Because even lately, the Canadians and U.S., when they played Canada in hockey, you had booing, you had people upset. So, I mean, does that affect Toronto this year?
For an extra.
That's the only.
Stream.
Is that not? That's the only Canadian team, and so I just wonder if it does affect not only attendance but also just the way that the rest of the teams are accepted as they are there this year.
So I paid $6.99 for the extra stream.
No, I think politically that does play into a player's mind,
just especially
with
to get
the
a better
recent
extra
events.
stream because the other one wasn't going to do anything.
With the recent events in mind, it'll continue. It'll start.
Yeah, the hotel. Yeah, it was a better stream.
I do agree that could be a possibility.
It just is rather
right.
Another reason could be.
I mean, there's no way that I'm going to recycle myself back. Let me just attempt one thing and see if the stream process will be better.
It would take for Toronto to get out of the cellar
I'm doing here,
and to start to make some progress in the AL East.
Pitching.
Injuries on other teams.
A lot.
Yes.
Personally.
Yes, you're right. Yes, a lot.
I think
you're right.
Let's see if I'm able to.
I think pitching mostly.
I just don't know.
see Toronto.
It's gonna take a lot.
I don't see them anytime soon getting out of the cellar in the AL East. I don't see it happening. I just don't.
I don't either. All right, let's move on to Tampa. Last year, the Tampa Bay Rays had an 80-82 record. Over the offseason, they lost their home field due to a hurricane, and they are going to be repairing it throughout the year. They also lost some players. They lost Jose Siri, Jeffrey Springs, Dylan Carlson, and Tyler Alexander. And they went and signed Ha-Sung Kim, Danny Jansen, Eloy Jimenez, and Alex Fideo. I personally really liked their offseason. I thought the way Tampa is run, I feel like they have a certain way of connecting and getting the best out of players.
What's their lineup in rotation?
Currently loading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Alrighty.
Of course,
Tampa Bay Rays 2025. Playing in the New York Yankees spring training field in Tampa. Their projected lineup is Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe, Junior Caminero, Josh Lowe, Danny Jansen, Jonathan Aranda, Christopher Morel, Johnny DeLuca, and Taylor Walls. Their projected starting rotation is Shane McClanahan, Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio, Zach Little, Shane Boz, and Drew Rasmussen. They're projected to have a 6-man rotation. And bullpen arms to mention Pete Fairbanks and Alex Fideo. And injuries to mention... Oh, I'm not going to mention Wander Franco. That's a different kind of list. Ha-Sung Kim, the guy they just signed. He's going to be out for a little bit. So he'll be back in the lineup at some point this year. Just don't know when. So sir, what do you think about the Tampa Bay Rays?
Tampa Bay Rays. Well, they have a way of getting their player, like you just said, the max out of their players. They surprise people, but a lot of names that they had before are not there anymore. The pitching staff, I mean, it's not a bad pitching staff. They got pretty good ERAs. Their rotation, they can surprise people and move up the list because they, the way they handle players. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see the effect of playing in a minor league stadium that's belongs to a rival team in their division. Who shows up to it? Tampa fans or Yankee fans, or I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and how that affects.
Well, I think it'll definitely will be a Yankee home game when Yankees are in town. I mean, and the Red Sox fans show up when they're in Tampa. So, I mean, that won't change. So it will be interesting. That will be interesting. But I do want to mention, because I forgot to mention it while we were talking about Toronto, ChatGPT predicts that the Toronto Blue Jays record will be 78-84, which is better than their record last year.
Brings them up 4 games. 4 games.
Alrighty.
All right, so my thoughts about Tampa Bay, and looking that they were only 6 games different than Toronto last year, and one of the things I looked at was Tampa Bay last year had a winning record at home. Though they had a losing record altogether, their winning record was at home. They were 42-39. Their away record was 38-43. So in light of them not having a home, technically, let's say it that way, I'm a little worried about that. I'm worried that that's going to affect them deeply. And I'm not sure how that's going to affect. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about this whole thing. My personal opinion, Harper, please. So I have mixed feelings about this whole thing. A baseball player should be able to play anywhere. I don't care where it's at, if it's in a backyard. But at the same time, that's not the part I'm worried about. I'm worried about the luxury and all the things that they are used to at a major league stadium that you're not going to get at a minor league stadium because it's just not available. And that's what I'm most worried about. Just knowing the difference of a minor league and major league stadium, it's going to be majorly different, whether they know it or not.
Right.
So,
same with the Sacramento A's.
Right. Exactly. So I really, that's what I'm probably most worried about with both of those teams, but particularly this team even more, because of them having the A's have never been that good in the first place. Tampa Bay has, and I really feel sorry for them, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. But anyway, that's why I'm putting them below Toronto. Even though I'm only putting them slightly below, because they were only 6 games above them this time. And so I really, that's the only reason why I'm putting them below Toronto.
So do you think their record will be worse?
Yes, I do.
Randy, welcome back. If you could stay this time.
It looked like I used I got my, thank God I took my iPad with me. Just quickly, I got Toronto in the 4th spot. I think there's going to be 4 teams in the AL East that'll be over 500. Santander's a big pickup. They've got some pitching. There'll be no trading of Vlad if that team is winning by the time June comes around. If they're in a winning mode, they ain't going nowheres. Why we all say no? I mean, I know, Senior, I'm with you on this one. Who wants to go to Toronto? But Santander did, and I think that arbitration signature that he signed, that Vladimir signed. I know he's going to go free agent, and he wants to be, but that could change if Toronto becomes. They got some good pitching. I got them in the 4th spot. Tampa Bay, they're done. They got nothing.
So the Blue Jays record was 74 and 88. Do you think their record will be better or worse?
Over 500, better. Over 500.
The Rays record was 80 and 82. Do you think they will be better or worse?
Worse. They'll be in the bottom. They don't have their catch-all was what the last 3, 4, 5 years was, that those one inning starters and all that. That kind of phased off. That phased out of the loop. Don't get me wrong. Cash is still the coach, the manager there still, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. He could take, that guy can take players and make things happen. So you never count Tampa Bay out, but I think I was listening to you, Paul, about the idea of playing in a subpar stadium. Well, actually, it's not a subpar stadium. They're playing where the Yankees play their games. That's a nice little stadium, but nevertheless,
it's not a major league ballpark.
Right, but it's not Oakland's fiasco. Oakland's got a fiasco, but with Tampa Bay, I think that they play in it's going to be really interesting when the Yankees go to play there and some of the kids that grew up play there. It's intriguing, but at least it's not a lousy stadium. But Tampa Bay scenario, I saw pictures of the way that Milton killed them. So that's right. And I got Tampa Bay in the last, and I got Toronto in 4th. So that's
Does anybody know how far the two stadiums are apart? Where Tampa Bay's regular stadium is compared to the Georgia?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can look that up while Ken gives our thoughts, or his thoughts, on the Tampa Bay.
The question in the AL East this year, and I think it's being discussed over and over again, what effect is it going to be playing in a minor league stadium? Will it have an effect in the whole division? The other thing is, right now, what you have in the AL East, you have your top 3 and your bottom 2. And that division seems to be becoming wider and wider.
Right.
And
That's right.
To try to catch up with those top 3 is going to be a difficult task for Tampa and for Toronto. It's going to be a very difficult task. I think you're going to see Toronto and Tampa Bay fighting it out for those last 2 spots. And then, how much of a gap can Tampa make between them and the top three. And I think that's going to be a difficult task, especially this year. I think the potential, I think, is there for Tampa to become better. We need Tampa to become better. We really, really do, for the whole division's sake. We really need to have Tampa become better because they were a good team, and to see them sliding like they are is a sad thing to see happen, and I know I keep hammering about pitching, but it really does come down to that in the AL East. And then Tampa, I just do not see them improving from last year. Will they have a better record? They had 80 wins last year, I believe you said 80 wins. They're going to be right around there again. They might pick up a couple wins, possibly. Once again, playing in that stadium, is it going to make a difference record-wise? You would think it would not, but I just wonder how mentally is it going to play on people's minds when they come there to play and when Tampa's playing there. So I just wonder mentally how will it affect the AL East. So I'd say Tampa will be in fourth, and maybe we'll have a couple wins better than last year, but I don't think they've improved enough to make a difference in the gap between the top three and the bottom two.
Interesting enough, you just brought up something to make me think about here. Is this stadium going to affect this entire division?
Yes, I think it will. Mentally, I'm saying mentally, I think it will.
Everybody's got to go there.
I don't think so. Everybody's got to go there. Everybody's going to play there. I think the team that it disturbs the most, plain and simple, and that's why I got them in dead last place. And I don't know if they'll win 70 games this year. Is Tampa Bay, because their stadium with that crazy roof and everything up there, that was a tough place to play, and they had an edge there, and they don't have that edge anymore. They're playing in Yankees farm team stadium. That's the Yankees.
By the way, it's not a dome.
Field.
It's not a dome. They'll be
and
playing
it's not a dome.
Exactly. That's true too. It's not a dome.
I think the team that's going to hurt the most is going to be Tampa Bay. That's why I got them lapsed into last. And did they really? I mean, I didn't hear. Did they improve themselves at all, guys? I didn't hear. I was off the. They didn't.
That's okay, so just to recap, I'll go back to it for you. Subtractions was Jose Siri, Jeffrey Springs, Dylan Carlson, and Tyler Alexander. Their acquisitions were Ha-Sung Kim, Danny Jansen, Eloy Jimenez, and Alex Fideo.
The infamous Danny Jansen.
One thing I want to look up, because we're talking about it, is their schedule debacle. Because their schedule is rough. Because they are playing in Florida in the summer. So I'm trying to find where it is.
They have less home games, if I remember correctly.
It's not that they have less home games. It's that they, one half of the season is mostly home games, and then the other half is mostly road or something.
I think isn't the first half? I think the first half of the season is at home. Is that right? It seems like it's heavy in the first half at home, but I don't remember.
I think so. Let me. I'm trying to check that real quick.
Guys, I'm going to have to go let my dog out. I'm not going to have any choice. My wife is not going to be able to help.
And just come back then.
Yeah, just come back.
I wonder about also.
I rose from the dead.
How does the dimensions of the stadium differ from where Tampa was playing to where they will be playing for this year?
They mimic the Yankee Stadium.
Okay, so I just found
Steinbrenner Stadium.
The Rays will play 47 of first 59 games at home.
Whoa.
And then 69 of the last 103 on the road.
Whoa.
You
can't slice it any better than that.
It's because
that's a wow.
It's because in Florida, that's the rainy season. And it's really bad. I used to work at a stadium in the Florida State League, and there were tons of rainouts. And I mean tons. And they're trying to prevent the rainouts by doing this type of schedule.
And once again, I come back to what I said earlier. how does that
favors
affect
them.
How does that affect the whole division? That's what I was asking. With them playing that kind of a schedule, also, how does that affect the whole division?
I think it will only really, truly affect Tampa. Because that is a very rough schedule to play.
That is a rough schedule. That is.
Look at Tampa Bay, and this can bode well for them. This could really bode well for them, and this is why I'm thinking now. It's not like they're playing in another county. It's Tampa. They're playing in Yankees Steinbrenner Field, which is a nice field. It's a class act field. The Steinbrenners put a ton of money into that field.
Not a big league ballpark.
Stadium. But this Tampa Bay scenario is so different than Oakland's. Tampa Bay has to play there. Oakland could have stayed playing in Oakland, but they didn't. They whatever they want to do in Oakland, they can have it. But Tampa Bay has to play there. And their first 47 games of the year, I don't give a flip where you're playing. If those are home games for you, you have a massive advantage. And they could. Don't be surprised, Kenny, that they ain't in first place sometime in June.
Oh yeah, I think
they're 1 or 2.
They could.
Those first 59 games, they have the advantage. It's that.
I'm not liking this.
It's the back half. You're right. The back half of that schedule.
That which is going to be tough. But if they've got, say, let's just figment of imagination. 10 games up in the month beginning of June. 10 games up and are on a roll. 500 for the rest of the back end of the season or like that or whatever?
I think they're under 500 that back half.
I think so.
They have to be. But that's their goal, to play 500 baseball.
Yes.
They could be in the thick of this.
They could.
This is a very strange year for this league.
It is.
Tampa Bay may get the blessing out of playing at home like that. And then I'm for the belief that Toronto through the Yankees are going to be gunning for the division. I even include Toronto in there. I like their team. I was just looking at it even closer, and I like their team.
So a question was asked when I believe Paul asked it. How far is the Rays Stadium to Steinbrenner Field without traffic? Without traffic, 25 minutes. But Tampa can get so much traffic that could be a nightmare.
Okay.
Pardon the interruption. So just to go back to Tampa real quick, ChatGPT gives them between 81 and 83 wins in 2025, which means that ChatGPT predicts they will improve to a 500 or better team. And then the next team we are going to talk about was 500 last year, and that was the Boston Red Sox. Boston. They had a very active offseason this year. They lost Tyler O'Neill, Kenley Jansen, Danny Jansen, Chris Martin, Nick Pivetta, and Lucas Sims. And they added Matt Moore, Adam Ottavino, Carlos Narvaez, Giovanni Moran, Justin Wilson, Aroldis Chapman, Patrick Sandoval, Walker Buehler, Alex Bregman, and Garrett Crochet. Oh, this is going to be a fun year to watch some Boston baseball. Their projected lineup is Jarren Duran, Rafael Devers, Alex Bregman at third. Devers DHing, by the way. Tristan Casas, Trevor Story, Weiler Abreu, Christian Campbell, who is a minor leaguer. They're projecting him to make the opening day roster at second base. Connor Wong and Cedar Rafaela is the projected lineup. And then the projected rotation is Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Walker Buehler, Quinn Priester, and Richard Fitz. Couple of bullpen arms to name: Liam Hendricks and Aroldis Chapman. Injuries to mention: Masataka Yoshida, Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, Lucas Giolito, and Patrick Sandoval. They have a whole rotation on the injured list. Even with that said, I still think they're going to have a really good year, and I'm very excited to watch some Boston baseball. I think their record will be a lot better than 500 like they were last year. And I think the additions they made, man, I cannot wait to see Bregman play in Boston for 81 games. I can't wait to see what that does to the lineup. Hopefully Trevor Story can stay healthy for a season. Yeah, I am very excited. Sir, what do you got?
Alex Bregman, of course, a huge addition. Rafael Devers has now agreed to play wherever he can help his team instead of sticking to his guns. So I like the teamwork that he's showing now. Garrett
Has he
Crochet,
agreed to that?
Yes, he has.
Yes.
He has come out and said that?
Yes, he's come out and said whatever they need.
I have not heard that.
I'll play wherever they want me to play.
That's important.
And and then you got the addition of Garrett Crochet. I think he's a solid starter. And I think they're going to be a better team this year for sure. Will they compete for the division? They might. They might compete for the division, which is good for baseball. I like to see what they've done, and I'm anxious to see how they're going to play there.
Paul?
I'm not a Bregman fan, so it doesn't mean anything to me. Crochet, now that's different. He's going to make a difference. There's no doubt about it. Pitching is big in Baltimore or in Boston. I mean, you've got the wall, which makes all the difference how you pitch. And so I really, as long as they improve in their pitching, that's what they need.
Yeah.
My question would be, they had 81 wins. Do they make 90 wins? I would hope so, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure they'll make 90 wins yet. My personal gut feeling, I'm not sure they will. They're going to be real close. They're going to be 88 to 92. I'll say it that way, in my opinion.
Randy?
You're excited, aren't you?
Very excited. Well, just to go back on what Paul said. I know Bregman had a down year. His stats in Fenway are insane. Insane. He loves Fenway Park.
But it's different being a visitor and being there.
I know that. But he still loves hitting in the stadium. In 20-something games, he has a 12-something OPS.
Translate that to 40 games, 42 games, 60 games, exactly. 80 games.
Exactly.
At home. So it's going to be, I'm just going to flat out say that this, like I said earlier, this is going to be the most exciting division in baseball. Tampa Bay could surprise because of how they're playing, the time they're playing and the amount of home games. They could be out of it quick. Toronto, I think, improved themselves. I've got the Red Sox landing in the third spot. I think they're going to be much better than 81 and 81. I think they're going to get anywhere from 92 to 95 victories. I think they could contend for the first place for that. It's going to be a crapshoot all the way through. I think if they stay healthy and Bregman performs, Devers is going to be a better player. They've got some pitching now. They've got some Crochets, and I looked. I forgot about him. I wasn't as well versed on, but I looked in a little bit at him. I said, "Oh my goodness, that may have been a steal." The Red Sox. I got them in the third spot, but they could easily win the division. I don't care what anybody says, and that gives the Yankees something to shoot for. Baltimore's going to love this. This is going to be one division. I think each of the series throughout the season are going to be something else. I bet you they get some top billing on ESPN and other networks. They're going to be wanting to watch what the AL East is going to do.
ESPN has dropped MLB, by the way.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
But that's the end of this season, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought it was effective immediately.
No. It's the end of.
Oh, it's effective immediately?
I don't think so. I think
It's got to be the end of the season.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be the end of the season.
Yeah, it's the end of this season, I think. Yeah.
I think the Red Sox are going to be good, and that's where and Senior, you and I have talked about it. When the Red Sox and the Yankees are good in the deal, that makes the whole division good, makes baseball exciting. And now that Baltimore and their young guns,
It just makes Baltimore the winner of the division. That's all it does.
They let Santander go. I want to see how they're going to replace him.
They got Tyler O'Neill, which I'm very upset about.
Santander put up big numbers last year, guys.
Yeah.
So did Tyler.
By the way, my dog has not been introduced. This is Harper. She's my little mini golden doodle. Weighs about 15 pounds. Good friends with Bo, and they hang out a little bit together.
There's Bo.
This is
Bo's already doing the lizard.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see that. Sure enough.
He heard the Harper name. He's like, where?
Ken, what do you think about the sack?
Randy, you and I are old enough to have some history with the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox are a team with high expectations. What normally happens is this: when they have high expectations in Boston, one of two things. They will either be celebrating in the streets or else they're going to be crying in their beer. Or not maybe. It's one of the two. And that's what we've seen happen down through the years. Randy and I can witness to that. The expectations are high. Is Boston expecting too much? Time will tell. Time will tell that. Can Boston win? They could win the division. But they could also finish in third place. And we were talking about Tampa here a little bit earlier. If Boston falls below third, the people in Boston are going to have some big questions and going to really wonder what's going on. I think the people in Boston don't set your expectations so high that you'll be disappointed if they don't meet those expectations. Bregman is a great player. They've made some great additions to their team. He's a great player. If he gets injured, how does it change that team? How does that team change without Bregman? So that's why I'm saying you always have to have the injury bug always hits these teams. And it's going to hit somewhere. Who's it going to affect the most? So Boston, I need Boston and New York to be strong because that is a rivalry that has been fantastic down through the years, and to have that rivalry back again will really be big. So yes, Boston, I think they will be better than last year, but is it going to be enough to win the division? Boston, I will say this, I do think Boston probably has the best pitching in the AL East. And that being the case, that gives them a great, great shot at winning the division.
Thankfully, the Red Sox have a new front office that actually go out and get what is needed.
Mm-hmm.
We needed pitching. They went and got pitching. So, next team to mention, as my computer's freezing. Oh, wait. Before that, ChatGPT gives the Red Sox the same record, 81-81.
Okay, there's a stat, which this is kind of interesting. It's the weighted runs created plus. I've been seeing this on some of the sites where they give everybody a league average is 100, a 100 score, and 150 would be way above average. And I guess that's how well you produce runs. On all the lineups I've looked at so far, it's a mixed bag of players above and below that 100 mark, with some of the higher spikes being on the Toronto Blue Jays, but they have a lot of lower spikes that are way below 100 as well. When I popped up the Red Sox on this, the way that they figured out this scoring, I don't know. I got to kind of see if I could show this to you. Did you see those numbers?
Pull it out.
I don't know if you could or not.
Bring it out just a little.
Everybody on that lineup is above 100. And that's the first team that we've discussed so far where everybody's over 100, except for the last guy, and that guy might not be in the lineup. So,
is that projected or?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's 24 numbers.
Okay.
So, and that weights the field that they're playing in and the circumstance. It weighs a lot of factors. To see all those numbers being over 100, it's showing that this is going to be a really good, fun team to watch. I just thought I'd throw that out there. All right, let's move on.
And
another
one thing
that I look at a lot is how they play at home. And Boston has the worst home record of this entire division, 38-43 last year. So they do not play well at home. I never have thought of Boston having a good home field advantage, and so I think the Wall's been overrated all of baseball. Period. But
you shut your mouth.
Well, it's true. 38-43 goes along with what I'm saying, that it doesn't help them. I mean, 38-43 does not help them at all.
Putting down the monster.
Paul, I never, ever better hear you speak such disgraceful things about the monster.
What can I say?
Disgraceful.
That green monster has affected so many games. So many games. Randy, you and I can remember. Randy and I can remember when the green monster would help and it would also hurt.
Still does.
No, it still does.
I've been to Fenway Park. It's a nice place. I am not a Red Sox fan. I was there to watch the Yankees back in '77 in a massacre that was just crazy. But there's a long time ago. But I always want Boston to be playing well. I stomach 2004 when I think about it. But they have played good baseball in a lot of ways since. I mean, it was, what was it, 67, and then 86, and then finally in 2004 when they pulled the stunner of stunners, winning 3 in a row. And they've been a better ball club all around since.
Hey, when's the last time Boston had a?
Yeah, I mean
When's the last time that Boston had a losing record?
I can find that for you quickly. While I'm looking,
I want to say 2 years ago.
Last year. Not 2024, 2023.
Yeah.
They were 78 and 84.
70.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
They have a better team, guys.
They do have a better team.
Team now.
So I
play better.
Fenway.
They have a better team.
I've seen mini Fenway because it's in Greenville. Greenville Drive is one of the minor league teams for Boston, and they have a mini Fenway. Their stadium, is a mini Fenway. It's really a cool stadium. I've been there 2 or 3 times.
Yep, I was there in the summertime. Great place, beautiful.
Yep.
Family in Greenville, and it was neat how when you walk in the stadium, they show pictures of Alexander Bogart and Mookie Betts that all went through there, and the latest was Rafa. I call him Rafa. And I thought for sure, Alex, you were going to take that first crack with Rafa, and I given you Rafa and Alex together, but you didn't take Rafa. That's strange, dude. Very strange.
For Bobby Witt, I'm trying to win the fantasy league.
I gave you 2 of your bullets from your team, your holy team, and you didn't jump for it. Amazing.
The last thing I want to say about the Red Sox is it's been bothering me for the past couple years that people have been saying that the Padres-Dodgers have been the best rivalry in baseball for the past couple years. Because, I mean, the Red Sox-Yankees, it wasn't really that competitive for the past few years. So, but now that the Red Sox have really bolstered their roster, I think they will take that as the...
Can I rebut? You're right on. You're right on. And this is the key here, guys. The Red Sox-Yankees can have lousy teams, and they still fill the stadium, and they still play great games. The Padres, when they're not any good, they don't care, and that's out there in the West Coast. The Red Sox-Yankees deal, as far as I'm concerned, is the finest rivalry in all of sports. And
the Red Sox,
and don't get me wrong, there's teams that are 1 and 2. Go ahead, Ken.
The Red Sox and the Yankees have a history. And, the Dodgers and the Padres, they may eventually have that history, but, man, Boston and New York, man, not only is it in baseball, but it's throughout all sports. Boston and New York, you really can't top that rivalry. You can't top it.
No, but what people have been saying is because it hasn't been as competitive between them.
Yeah.
So the best rivalry in the last few years has been that. Anyways, Baltimore. Last year, Baltimore had a record of 91-71. Additions and subtractions, they lost Corbin Burns, Anthony Santander, Eloy Jimenez, John Means, Austin Slater, Danny Colomé, and Jacob Webb, and James McCann. And they gained Tyler O'Neill, Tomoyuki Sugano, I hope I said that right, Gary Sanchez, Charlie Morton, Andrew Kittredge, Dylan Carlson, and Ramon Laureano. Their projected lineup is Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Cedric Mullins, Jordan Westberg, Colton Cowser, Tyler O'Neill, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle, and Jackson Holiday. Projected starting rotation is Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, Dean Kremer, Tomoyuki Sugano, and Cade Povich. Couple of bullpen arms to mention: Felix Bautista and Sir Anthony Dominguez, and a lot of injuries on this team. Jorge Mateo, Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, Trevor Rogers, and Andrew Kittredge. Paul, we'll start with you on this one, since this is your team. We'll start with Paul and end with Ken. Paul, what do you got to say?
I am worried about the injuries. I think that the first two losses that you mentioned do hurt. We lost a batter and a pitcher. That hurts. I know that we just now decided this late in the spring training of who our starting pitcher is, because we just lost a starting pitcher. And so am I concerned about the team? Yeah. But we've got tremendous depth. Not only do we have tremendous depth, we're extremely young. We're probably the youngest team possibly in the AL. And so I'm not worried overall. I truly think we have as good or better team than last year. And so I'm not worried about, particularly, the only team I'm worried about in our division this year is Boston. Outside of that, I'm not worried about any of the rest.
So you don't think the Yankees will do well then?
I do not. They're already hurting, and I just don't. I think they're going to miss Soto more than they think they are. He was a huge plus. Harper, just get the toy and have fun. So he was a huge plus to their lineup, and I don't think they made it up with another guy. And so, yeah, I think Baltimore's going to be the top in the division. I think they had 91 wins. I think there'll be 95 wins or maybe more. And so that's where I put them.
I wholeheartedly disagree with you. Grayson Rodriguez, I don't know when he'll be back, but you will not have Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns was a big part of the reason why Baltimore's record was what it was last year. 1,000% think they have gotten worse this offseason, and I think their record will show it. Sir, what are your thoughts?
Well, I want to see what happens with their young phenom that's supposed to that didn't do so great in his debut, but that's okay. Let's see what he does. Jackson Holiday, who happens to be the son of seven. Whoa. That was really horrible.
Ouch.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, who's messing with their wires? I think that's Paul.
Yeah, that's Paul.
I think Harper chewed on his wires or something.
I believe it.
So, anyway, Jackson Holiday happens to be the son of seven-time All-Star Matt Holiday, and curious to see what happens with that. They're really hoping for a big season from him. I mean, if the pitching holds up well, I think they could be. I don't know that they got that much worse. So, I know they lost like two big names there. That's hard to replace. But I think they'll be in the mix. But
do you think their record will be better or worse?
Slightly better.
Don't see it.
71, 20 games over 500. Oh, boy, yeah. All right, 88 wins, maybe a little bit less, 3 less.
Randy, what are your thoughts?
I tell you, just to give you kind of a glimpse, I'm looking here 10 youngest rosters in 2025, and I'm amazed that the Baltimore Orioles are not in the top 10.
Wow.
But yeah, I was very surprised. The Miami Marlins, the Rays, the Guardians. I mean, this looks like it's pretty legit here. Anyhow, so and I'm surprised, but I'm if I'm a Yankee fan, the most dangerous team to me is the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah. They hung with them last year, and they were in first place, and they fizzled. And there's reasons for that because some of their players, they've got a good team, and we see them to be on the young side. They got a taste of it last year, and they lost some players. Corbin, losing a pitcher is tough. I don't care what he says. Yankees lost. We'll get to it, but Yankees lost two top. That's 40% of their roster of their starting pitchers. Unfortunately, they got a lot of players to choose from. Baltimore's got a lot of guys on that are injured, but they're gonna be there. The Orioles, like I said the other night, they're like one of those teams that, like the Padres, that could probably win 100 games and come in second. In Baltimore, the Yankees can win 100 games and come in second. The Orioles are they remind me of the Orioles back in the 70s. And I think Ken knows what I'm talking about. No one has 4 20-game winners potential. Maybe some teams have 4 12 to 15-game winners, but they got a good pitching staff. I mean, I've never liked their manager. Neither here nor there. They're a good baseball team. Jackson Holliday could explode this year. He went down last year. He came back, and what was the first pitch he hit? If I'm not mistaken, when he came back after a grand slam, parked one on the first or second pitch he was throwing out. Jackson Holliday's a stud, and they've got bukus of talent waiting to come up. And they could be in the position where they may go get a Jose Ramirez who might be available at the trading deadline. There's going to be a bunch of players that are going to be available. So I think Baltimore could win 100 games this year and come in second place or win the division at 100 games.
So you think their record will be better?
Yep.
Let's see how you guys see this.
They're not winning 91 games. They're going to win 95 runs.
See it.
I see it.
Ken, what do you see?
You think Baltimore or Boston's so much better, because they're not.
Their pitching improved a lot. A lot. And Baltimore's pitching got a lot worse, plain and simple.
Not enough to overtake. 81 wins for the Boston last year? No.
This is, you know what's really good about this division? It can go anyways. It can go anywheres. It's going to be fun to watch, top to bottom. The only one that could get out of it is Tampa Bay. Could go nosedive if they're at home and they lose all those games and all that time on the road in the second half of the season. Just gives them blisters out. But I like Baltimore. I like Baltimore, and I'm nervous about. They scare me. Boston scares me too, but Baltimore, because they tasted it last year big time. They were there at the end.
That's exactly
and it
right.
Sort of fizzled out, but that's my scoop on Baltimore. What do you think, Ken?
Okay, I've been listening to all this, was waiting to talk, and let me tell you a little bit about the Orioles. I've been following the Orioles for quite a long time, and the Orioles have been known down through the years for their pitching. Now, let me tell you about their pitching for this year. We'll start out slow. We always do. We're going to make up for Corbin Burnes being gone for this reason. You look on that injury list, look on the injury list, and you'll see we have some pitchers that are coming back later on in the season. During this season, the Orioles will start out slow, but they are going to finish strong because you're going to see an improved pitching staff down through the season. That is going to be the difference maker with Corbin Burnes being gone. We've got arms coming back from that injury list. You look on that injury list and you'll see we've got some arms coming back. And our bullpen now is being built up again, our starting rotation. I wish these starters were pitching back in the 70s because I think, Randy, we have some pitchers on our team if they were pitching in the 70s, they would get those 20 wins. I really think they would. So we've got some young arms that are out there, and some of them can bring the heat. And I think you're going to see Baltimore is going to be improved. Is there concern? Yes, there is concern because an injury can always change everything. It just can change everything. But you're going to see offensively, Baltimore can match up with anybody. Anybody in the East, they can match up with them. It's going to come down to pitching once again. But you're going to see the Orioles are going to improve during the season. They're going to start out slow. They always do. And you're not going to see it in the first couple months. But I think you're going to see they're going to surge come June, July, and then throughout the rest of the season, you're going to see them surging.
Let me just say this about their injuries. Kyle Bradish had Tommy John surgery.
Yes.
6/19/24. So he won't be back till later in the season.
That's correct.
And who knows what he'll look like after Tommy.
That's right.
Grayson Rodriguez is out with elbow inflammation. What can that turn into?
That's true.
I'll let you answer that.
Continue to look down through that injury list. You'll see some other pitchers who are coming back. I think they're going to make up the difference. And I think also
Andrew Kittredge, the reliever, arthroscopic knee surgery on March 7th.
Yep. Yep.
Trevor Rogers, kneecap subluxation in January. Tyler Wells, UCL surgery 2 days before Kyle Bradish. And Chase McDermott strained lat in February.
I think you're still going to see. You're going to see an improved club for the second half. You're going to see improved pitching. And I know Boston doesn't like to hear that.
But you won't have Corbin Burns.
Hey, we don't need Corbin Burns to win the division. That's what you got to remember. You got to have more than one pitcher to make it. You got to have more than one. It took more than Corbin Burns for us to get to the playoff last year. It takes more than just one pitcher. You need an ace, and you do. You need an ace.
I agree.
Coming out of the bullpen. You've got to have that good reliever coming out of the bullpen, which we will have that this year. Batista coming back is big.
I agree. I agree. Baltimore might even be the favorites. I might even put them at the top of the division in my projections. I'm not even sure where I'm going to go with that yet. But right now, your ace is Zach Eflin with Grayson Rodriguez out.
Yep.
You do not have Corbin Burns anymore. I'm just not seeing how everyone thinks that their record will be better without Corbin Burns and without a big major arm replacing him. I just don't see it.
I think it's not so much for
15 and 9.
It isn't necessarily that we'll have a better record. I think Boston and New York aren't going to be as good.
Exactly. Not only that, you have to keep in mind that because of our depth, we're going to be able to make some trades throughout the year and do some things throughout the year with our minor league and with other stuff.
But Baltimore doesn't like to trade their prospects. They don't.
But for pitching, you may see it happen. For pitching.
I would need to see it to believe it for them to actually let go of their prospect. If they do, I think they'll probably win the division, but I don't think they'll pull the trigger on.
I don't know. It once again, like what Randy said, it is going to be exciting. I mean that this division is going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
It is. It's going to be
very exciting.
We need to have three good teams there. I'm hoping that Boston, New York, and Baltimore is all in the mix come September. And if Tampa or Toronto could be in the mix, that would make it that much better. So that would just make it that much more exciting.
Oh yeah, no, it will be very exciting to see what happens. So, the next team we are going to talk about. Oh, and before I forget, ChatGPT gives the Orioles a record of 88-74. They say that they are going to get worse slightly. I agree. All right, the New York Yankees had a big offseason as well. The New York Yankees, they lost Juan Soto, Gleyber Torres, Clay Holmes, Nestor Cortez, Tommy Kahnle, John Birdie, Tim Mesa, Jose Trevino and Cody Petit, and Anthony Rizzo and Alex Verdugo. But they gained a lot. And I'm afraid of this team, honestly. I'm re-looking at this list, and I'm getting scared. Max Fried, Devin Williams, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Jonathan Loaizaga, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Alex Jackson, Carlos Carrasco, and Tyler Mastek. Their record was 94-68. Sir, are you still with us? Hello?
No, he gone.
He gone.
You gone.
He gone. Randy,
May
tell
I?
us about your Yankees.
May I? Yes. Yes, indeed. And I'll probably be in total agreement with Senior. Yeah, we lost a few players. You don't lose a generational player like Soto without feeling it. They will feel it. I think he made the team better last year. He was probably responsible for helping them get to the World Series. And we'll only know that that's what the case was. But Giancarlo was a good player last year. And even without Cole, we were able to still, you can replace a player. And that's what will happen with Corbin Burns. They'll replace him. The Orioles will replace him. The Yankees are already in trouble in pitching per se. 40% of their starting rotation. The fella that took over for Cole last year was Luis Gil. And he's gone with Tommy John. Cole is gone with Tommy John for the season. So neither of the two will be around. And Heel was that replacement for Cole. Thus, we didn't lose. If Cole had given us 50% of the season, we'd have won 105 games last year, and we would have been the number one seed in all of baseball and would have probably had the home field advantage, no question asked. But we only got a game and a half out of Cole. My personal opinion, I think Garrett Cole is finished. I hate to say that, but I think he's finished because at 34 years old, it's very tough to come back from Tommy John.
I agree.
I don't care what nobody says. And I think he could be done, and that may be a $345 million mistake, but we didn't know that. He did win a Cy Young 2 years ago. He was something else. He was a closer. Anyhow, he closed. He was finished. Bottom line is the players they got in place, because Brian Cashman is the kind of general manager every team would love to have. And he does it in New York, and he does it, and he completes. The Yankees really, outside of Soto, didn't lose anything. Gleyber Torres was losing his place in the Yankees. Jars of Clay went over to the Mets and now is their starter. Good grief. That tells a lot about the New York Mets. They're in trouble on pitching. Well, and that make the Soto thing not mean anything. Nestor was nothing to write about, and the rest of the players, I don't mind that they win. Goldie could be exciting. Verdugo and Rizzo have not signed with anybody, and don't be surprised that both of them get inked by the Yankees before the season starts. Especially Riz, he hasn't gone anywhere, hasn't gone anything, and he might. Goldie could flop after a month and say, "Oh my goodness." Remember Mr. Carpenter from the Yankees a couple years ago, Matt Carpenter that came over, and he had that unbelievable start 3 years ago, and he got hurt, and that was it. He couldn't recover. But he had one unbelievable first couple of seasons. Go look at his numbers. They were unbelievable. The rotation. Let's go to the rotation because that is going to mean everything. Max Fried, oh my, that looks like a steal right off the bat because Garrett Cole's gone. Max Fried replaces Heel's numbers. Rodon showed he could pitch last year with 15, 16 games. He looks like if he has his head screwed on straight, he's going to be the dominant. He's going to be a good pitcher. Schmidt's going to play well again. Clark Schmidt. Stroman finally realizes that he may get an opportunity here, Marcus Stroman. Does he return to his former form? We're going to see. Will Warren sitting as a young pitcher right there. But then if these pitchers can give the Yankees 5 innings, and our mid guys with Hill and all the way down the line, Kirk Cuisine, I call Kirk Cuisine's cousin, Mr. Cuisine, and Tim Hill, and some of these other performers, and then we bring on the ghost man. Yankees win 105 games this year and are better than they were last year. That's my prediction because I'm a Yankee fan. That's it.
Well, you mentioned their rotation, couple of bullpen arms to mention, Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. Their projected starting lineup is Austin Wells leading off. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez, Ben Rice, and Osvaldo Cabrera. And injuries to mention. This team is currently plagued with injuries.
Ouch.
Giancarlo Stanton. DJ LeMahieu.
Ouch.
JT Brubaker.
Ouch.
Garrett Cole. Luis Hill. Jake Cousins. Jonathan Loaizaga.
Loaizaga doesn't come back. He's third or fourth time in Tommy John. JT Brubaker, I'm not too concerned about him. It'd be nice to see it, be pleasant, but I have a feeling that Giancarlo will be back a whole lot sooner than you think. Even though reports here are saying that he could be gone all season, but those are just these chronic. It looks like he's been playing with tendonitis for a whole lot longer than just last year and the year before. We'll see.
Paul, your thoughts?
We'll see.
So Tommy John surgery has come a long way. A lot of people come back better than they were, which is hard to believe. Now we have guys that are having 2, sometimes 3 surgeries, and they're still coming back better.
Agreed.
I don't quite understand how it's that much better, but it is pretty amazing. I still do agree with you, though, about Cole. The mid-30s, they really start affecting you as a pitcher. And even if he does come back, I think he needs to be a reliever. But I don't know if he would. Well, we've talked about that before. Starters don't like to become relievers, but anyway. But I really do think the injuries is what's going to hurt this team. That's the only thing that's going to hurt them because, well, no, I can't say that. Soto is going to hurt them too. But outside of that, they still have a decent team. They really do. They still have good names there, and they're still the Yankees. Let's just face it. I mean, I don't like to say that, but they are. They're still the Yankees, and they always find a way to win. And so, even though I'm not sure where I'm going to put them yet, I will admit that I don't think they're going to do as good, but they're still going to be a threat to this division. They always are, and they're going to be something to watch. If they all stay healthy, they could be a big threat to this division. But the problem is most of their injuries are long-term injuries. That's the bad thing. It's not just. I mean, you're talking at least season-ending, if not career-ending stuff for most of these people. And that makes it very difficult to know where to go from there. The other thing I don't know about the Yankees, because I'm not a Yankees fan, I don't know how their team farm team is. I don't know where they're at with their farm team as far as young players and where they're headed. So that always worries me a little bit. If they have enough to build up their roster from their farm team. So that I don't know. And that's where I am thrilled with Baltimore, and that's where I feel like they have a little edge on most of this division. Is that, of course, I do know their farm system too, but Baltimore has a very strong farm system, and so that's what worries me probably with the Yankees. They do have a little bit of age. Even some of their pickups were aged. Goldschmidt. I'm a Goldschmidt fan. I have no problem with that guy.
I think he has a big year this year. I really do.
I hope he does, but his age is going to catch up a little bit. And as long as he can stay healthy, I'm a Goldschmidt fan. I think he could monster at New York Yankees. He could absolutely monster there. And in some ways, I hope he does. He could be a leader there. There's no doubt about it. And that maybe they need a little bit of that, because I do sort of feel sorry for Judge. I think he leaned a lot on Soto for support and all that, and I think he might get that out of Smith, and that might help him out, Goldschmidt.
So I'm looking up MLB's team prospect rankings.
Okay.
Yep. Good job.
I'm gonna do the whole AL East.
Okay, good.
Second ranked in all of baseball is the Tampa Bay Rays.
Get out of town.
Third ranked in all of baseball, the Boston Red Sox.
Oh.
And then there is
I have one.
What? No.
Good.
Go for it.
I have the Boston Red Sox as the number one farm team in one deal here.
Yeah, they've got a lot of prospects ready to come up right now.
Wow.
Let's see. There's a big drop. I know Baltimore has been known for their prospects, but they've dropped tremendously. They're not even.
What number do you have them at?
They're out of the bottom, or they're out of the top half. Or no, they are exactly there. They're at 15.
I have them at 17 on this Baseball America. They were number 1 last year, number 1 2023, number 4 in 2022, number 7 in 2021. That's amazing to me. I don't believe that.
Well, it's because their big prospects, I guess, have already come up. So
they're there.
Right.
Wow. I did not
Give me
realize
the third
that.
one. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick watching the third one. Wow.
That also
fourth in the division.
That also tells me that the future of the AL East looks very strong.
Yes. Fourth ranked in the division and 24th overall is the Yankees, and the 27th ranked is the Toronto Blue Jays.
Wow.
That tells me look out for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, this stat sheet's got it reversed the other way around. The Yankees. Isn't that the truth? Wow.
Yeah. That's an amazing fact there because, look out for Tampa Bay and look out for Boston because they are on the rise. They're on the rise. Let me ask you something about the AL East. My thoughts on New York Yankees. First off, when was the last time an AL East team made it to the World Series? And my second question is, when was the last time an AL East team won the World Series?
The last time an AL East team made the World Series was last year. The Yankees made it.
Oh, yeah, they did. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking Texas for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. When's the last time we won the World Series?
Boston was the last one to win.
2018.
Boston.
2018. So that's the last time we won the World Series.
Wow.
New York, man. New York has a tremendous history, and they are the mighty.
They gutted the team.
Last time Yankees had a losing season.
What was that again?
All right. Let's do this quickly because my iPad is I'll start off. 5th ranked in the AL East.
Tampa.
I think Toronto.
I have Toronto 4th. Paul, who do you got?
Toronto 4th.
Randy?
Toronto.
Ken?
I've got Tampa 4th.
Paul, I'll let you lead this one. 3rd. Who do you got?
3rd, I'm going to put the Yankees there.
Randy?
I've got Red Sox in 3rd.
Oh, you're killing me.
All right. This is where I wanted to mention this that I heard the other day. One of the bold predictions from the AL East is that the Yankees will not make the playoffs this year. That's one of the bold predictions. They would not make the playoffs. I tend to agree a little bit with that. I think New York's going to drop to 3rd this year. They're going to battle it out. You can put those 3 teams, you can put Boston, Baltimore, and New York in a hat and draw a name out, and there would be a fine argument for all 3 of them. Absolutely. But I think it's going to be a very, very close. It may be even just a 3-game difference.
I agree.
1st and 3rd.
It's going to be a very interesting division. I have the Yankees 3rd as well, and here's why. Looking at the lineup stats from 2024 for this projected lineup, Judge obviously has a great OPS. The next best OPS from last year was Jazz Chisholm at 760. And Judge had an 1159. I think they're really going to feel the effects of not having Soto. I have them 3. Paul, I'm going to say my 2 is Boston. Paul, who do you have?
Same thing, Boston.
Randy?
Baltimore.
Ken?
Man, as much as I want Baltimore to win it, I just think they're going to be second. I think Baltimore's going to be in second.
I've got Baltimore first. I don't like it, but I got them first. Paul.
Well, I no longer claim him as a brother, but Baltimore.
Let me tell you my
Paul,
reason.
who are you going with?
Baltimore.
Let me tell you the reason why I am going with Boston, because once again, I think they have the best pitching in the division. And I think for that reason, Boston's going to win the division. Because once again, I know I've been pushing it all throughout this podcast, but pitching is so big in the AL East. Offensively, all of these teams, Tampa Bay's offense really isn't all that bad either. But offensively, we can just about go toe-to-toe with everybody else. But the pitching is what it's going to come down to in the AL East, and I think Boston has it. I think they've got it this year. Now, let me ask you this.
Well, I now have a new brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you this.
Randy, you're going with New York.
No, I'm going
Randy,
with Boston.
I believe, is New York.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that any of these teams can beat the Dodgers? I don't think so.
With that lineup, that's hard to say.
Unless they get on a roll going into the playoffs and keep that roll going, I'm going to say no. That's the only way that one of these teams can beat the Dodgers in the World Series. And Randy, your team was the Yankees, right?
Yeah, I've got the Yankees, and I'll fervently disagree. Not fervently, just disagree. The best pitching in baseball, even with Garrett Cole and Luis Gil gone, is the Yankees. They've got guys that can win, and Fried and Rodon, Stroman and Clark Schmidt. They've got, and Schmidt was out half the season too last year.
I really do like Fried and Schmidt. I will agree.
Yes.
I preface it all that I got the Yankees first because I'm a Yankee fan, and I think Senior would go with me. But the Yankees and Baltimore and the Red Sox are capable of winning the division, and they're the only three teams that I think can have a shot at beating the Dodgers. Let's face it, I'm not a Dodger Blue fan, but I don't dislike their team. That team is Loaded. They're loaded. They're loaded top to bottom. Can you imagine if Kershaw comes back and pitches well? Lights out, guys. 125 games they might win next year. But that's just me shooting it off. But this is going to be a fun AL East this year. And I won't be disappointed. I'd be disappointed the Yankees lose. But I think Baltimore can win this thing with 100 games. I think the Red Sox are vastly improved and could have a monster season. And I'm not kicking Toronto out because I think Toronto got better too. And I think that they could have some good. It's going to be fun. Period.
It's going to be a very fun year. Any one of the, I'm not quite ready to put Toronto in the conversation, but any of the other three teams I agree with. They can win the division.
I don't know that I can agree with 100 wins for anybody. Last year, LA Dodgers didn't even get 100 wins. How many teams in this division get 90 wins though? Let's go with that. How many get 90 plus?
Any three of those can, but none, maybe.
Well, here's the other issue, guys.
None?
How much do we? How much do we end up just beating up on each other? That's the other thing.
I'd like to see a lot of fights. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, ChatGPT gave the New York Yankees an 87 win record.
That's legit because you lose Cole and you lose Heel all season long, but the Yankees replaced them, and they've got pitchers, and they've got the worst farm team, but they've got pitchers, and they're always in position to go find guys.
No, they are. Yeah, everyone wants to play in New York.
I'll say this. I think Yankee fans are in denial about how much losing Soto is going to hurt this team.
Agreed.
Randy, I'm looking at you because you're in denial. I'm sorry.
Well, hold on. I there is no questions asked that he's going to hurt not be in that lineup. He was a generational player, and but I think the Yankees did a good job of. You can't replace him. The Padres didn't replace him, and so and you look at the guys they had. But the Yankees are the Yankees, like Paul said. which is a classic statement. That's great. They're the Yankees. They will find a way. Cashman will find a way. But players have to come up big. And that goes for the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles, they may sting with losing Santander, but the Red Sox scare me too. But Baltimore scares me the most.
Yeah.
Toronto's going to be there. I just think it's going to be interesting. And I think all 100 games obviously is a tough deal to get after, but I think there is a potential of 4 90-win teams in that division this year.
Could you have 3 100-game winners?
That's it.
Could you have 3 100-game winners?
Whoa.
Isn't that something? And those 3 could be without the Yankees being the 100 game win. Boston and Baltimore.
I'm so sorry. My iPad died.
You're right. Yeah.
That could be a sleeping dead horse right there where they get on a roll. No one wants to go to Toronto to play.
If we get 300 game winners out of that would be amazing. But I don't see that happen.
I think we'll have 3 80-game winners.
That would be incredible. Has that ever happened, I wonder? Have we ever had 3 100-game winners in the East?
I can look.
I don't think any team has ever had barely just 2.
Let me see.
Not in the East, but how about 4 above 500 baseball teams in the East? How about that?
I think that's possible. I do. I really think
so,
that is possible.
Sure. I'm guaranteeing that.
Yeah, I think that's very possible.
So 500 baseball is what, 81 and 81? Oh yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah, 4. Yeah.
In 2021.
All right, guys. Now I think this is the last division that we're talking about. Is that right?
We have one more. We have the NL East.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought the AL East was the last one. Have we covered them all now?
NL East, and then it's it.
Oh, okay. I was ready to say, what's your prediction for the World Series and for the playoffs? But I guess we're not done with all the divisions yet.
No, we're gonna do NL East predictions, and then we're gonna go ahead and do that.
I'm not hearing out.
Randy still with us? I can't see him. He's still with us?
So this was the tightest division between the first place and the second place team last year. Now that's only by a half a game because the AL West was only 3.5, but still this was the closest. And then after that, there was that 10-game gap, and that's where I do think Boston's going to make up some of that gap, but I don't know if they're going to make enough to. That's what I'm worried about.
Hey, another interesting stat. I think Paul and I had talked about this a few weeks ago. Who had the best record playing against the AL East? Who had the best record of the AL East?
Yeah, we have looked at that before, my brother and I.
I do not know. Just to go back to what you guys were saying real quick, 2018, 2 teams in the AL East over 100 wins. Red Sox 108, Yankees 100, Rays 90. Trying to see if there's one where there's 3. Still looking.
Actually, Baltimore has the best record last year in the East, 32 and 20.
I thought so. They had the best record against the East last year. Now the East has improved. I will say that the East has improved.
Matter of fact, they're the only one with 30 wins in the East. The only one.
But where we're hurting, if I remember correctly, I think we were hurting playing against the West, if I remember correctly.
No, the biggest hurt for Baltimore is interleague play.
Interleague. Yep, interleague. And that comes into
the
play
improvements that could be made.
That comes into play. How do you play against
the improvements that could be made?
How do you play against the teams in your own division?
Toronto has a winning record in the West only. The only one they have a winning record in is AL West. I'm only looking at the AL first. The Tampa Bay, their worst record is in. Well, they only have a winning record in interleague play. This is all last year. Boston, their only winning record is in the West. Baltimore, their only losing record was interleague play. And the Yankees were tied in the East and in interleague play. That was their worst. Funny enough, they were 24 and 7 in the Central. They were the only ones with a single digit. 24 and 7 in the Central. So they really conquered the Central
they
a lot.
ate up the Central. Yeah, they ate them up.
So I really think that this is going to be a division worth a lot of thinking.
It's going to be really exciting to watch. Yeah,
it will be. It will be. Well, guys, I think I'm about ready to wrap it up here.
Yeah, I was about to go there. This has been the Grounds Crew. Thank you for please like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and TikTok. And yep, comment down below, and we will see you in the next one.
Just a few more days.